get them early or not at all. That's been Notre Dame's defensive MO this season, and it stayed true to form today, where Georgia Tech had a very impressive first quarter offensively, and then were shut down until garbage time. Notre Dame 31, Georgia Tech 13. This is Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis, brought to you by the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana. Tim Priester. It was a three-phase win today because the special teams that I think we had a few sideways comments about that group during the first quarter. They sure came to play as the game progressed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we were concerned, obviously, about the special teams that Notre Dame was facing in Georgia Tech, and Notre Dame won it. You got a fake punt, you got a fake field goal, you've got a blocked field goal, you've got another another botched one. There was a couple high snaps there, but you're right, three phases, Tim, because after Riley Leonard threw an interception, he was very, very good. He ended up completing 12 straight passes on the when the game turned after. After Georgia Tech had taken a 7-0 lead, Leonard completed 12 straight passes on back-to-back drives, and he was very good. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Zach Pyron, you and I were, and JB were catching a little bit of heat there when he started out 9 for 9, and understandably so. But after that, he was a 50% passer. We were down on the field after the game, and that kid was beaten up.
Yeah.
He refused to leave the field. A lot of credit to him. But speaking of another guy banged up, Jeremiah Love obviously wasn't 100% going into today. His warm-up was abbreviated, but he was tough. And all the way around, after the touchdown, Notre Dame scores 31 straight points and pretty much runs away with it.
He's been tough all season. We talked to Marcus Freeman about it and Riley Leonard. Jeremiah Love blocks better than he ever did. He is now getting trusted on third down. It's 2 games in a row. I don't know if people know this. Love had 0 third down conversions, almost barely any attempts going into the Stanford game. Now he's got 2 weeks in a row. He's tough and he has fantastic moves. He's a key to this offense. He makes it go. Riley Leonard, 12 in a row to 7 different receivers. The offense bogged down a little bit again thereafter. I'm not sure, without, as the coach would say, seeing it on film, what happened thereafter, but it was interesting to see that you get in a groove like that, and it did slow down a little bit. But as you said, 31 points until garbage time when Georgia Tech came in. I want to give credit to Georgia Tech a little bit offensively for one thing. Their offensive line, until the end when it was over, and they started getting their quarterback hit, their offensive line kept Notre Dame at bay, and that's why they were able to have a couple of long drives. They did get down the field for a field goal drive that Notre Dame stopped at the end of the half, and I thought that was crucial as well.
Yeah, it was, and we had talked about the one sack that they had given up, and it did take some time to get to him. But you're talking about Jeremiah Love. I want to commend Jadarian Price as well. He ended up being Notre Dame's leading rusher with 69 yards, and he was benched a couple weeks ago, and he's put together a couple solid games. And how many different receivers, Tim? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, I think it was, a total of them. And lo and behold, there's Tyler Buckner in the game. I thought it was Chris Salerno at first because they wear the same number, but they play on different sides of the football, and it was a well-timed fake. The fake punt, it's like, what in the world is Marcus Freeman doing? But he's going for it. And, he's criticized for a lot of things, but he's not afraid to count on his team and to believe in his team to come through in the clutch. And
he did get it to Jeremiah Love on the fake punt. It's worth pointing out that's a good call if you're going to
no
fake
doubt
a punt.
about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think that defensively, this as I said, the MO, I asked Leonard more about it post-game, because as a true freshman, it must be incredible you would think your confidence would wane a little when Georgia Tech spread them out horizontally. They made them tackle in space. They weren't tackling well in space. I kept asking, why are they losing leverage here? What's going on? Why are they losing contain? It just stops. They settle in. Al Golden's the master of it. He and Leonard Moore said, we kind of know this, but Leonard Moore said, Coach Golden calls it the first 15. They're coming with their first 15 best plays. When we've seen them all, that's when the adjustments happen.
And who would have thought, I'm not saying Leonard Moore is as good as Benjamin Morrison, or he's going to make, obviously he's not going to make the same amount of interceptions, but who would have thought, 2 years ago you have Benjamin Morrison, you can't believe how good this freshman is, and 2 years later you've got Leonard Moore, who just, his confidence in himself is incredible. Al Golden talked about it during the week. He's unflappable. He's focused at all times. Led the team in tackles again. And let's look at the numbers, because Eric Singleton Jr. and Malik Rutherford, those two guys are scary. They combined for 10 receptions, 91 yards, but it took 18 targets. Singleton was targeted 13 times and only had 6 catches for 59 yards. You had the unfortunate 60-yard gain by Jana But other than that, I mean, Notre Dame's defense shut them down. 64 yards rushing. Jamal Haynes is a real quality running back, 1,000-yard rusher last year, 8 carries, 15 yards.
Credit to Rod Hurd, too, because that was a 60-yard gain that should have been an 80-yard touchdown, 75-yard touchdown. Rod Hurd tracked him down, made the stop. They didn't score. They held him to a field goal attempt, and they did not score.
I called that was the turning point of the turning point.
Bryce
because
Young with the block.
Right. Well, yeah, and you had said, Notre Dame needs to go up 28-7. Next thing you know, 60-yarder,
yeah.
and it's about to become 21-14. Yeah. So there's the turning point. But 3 plays later, you have the block kick, and you have the turning point going in Notre Dame's way. And at that point, it was all Notre Dame the rest of the way, except for that last drive. And I mean, I got to give it up for Zach Pyro. He's a gutsy kid. He's injured. He got hit, but he refused to leave the field until they got the touchdown and then the 2-point conversion attempt.
Finer point on Leonard Moore. At one point, he had a 3rd down pass breakup, a 4th down stop on the field goal. He was the man in there that made the tackle on the botched field goal, and on the next series, a 3rd down pass breakup. That is an 18-year. You said he's not as good as Benjamin Morrison. He's not yet. There has not been much of a drop-off. We discussed this briefly. We were trying to figure out, well, where will a drop-off come? Maybe when you have to have that real veteran presence. Benjamin Morrison can see things happening in zone coverage. He can. That's when you see those little drop-offs. Maybe next week is a situation.
Man with Leonard. I mean, that's his calling card. The nuances of zone coverage, but Notre Dame doesn't use it a bunch. They use Pete Sampson and pointed out second in the country, and how often they are in man coverage, and Leonard Moore is great at that. This is really a team victory because it did not feel good early on. Mm-hmm. We talked about the advantage that Notre Dame might have fan-wise here in an NFL stadium, but this is now their home stadium, and it was a sizable Georgia Tech contingent, and they were louder early on when things were going that way, and Notre Dame fans did their part, but for the most part, scoring 31 straight points, they took the crowd out of the game.
Notre Dame continues on with 1 loss on the season, the Northern Illinois game. We are going to be previewing this week. Undefeated juggernaut Navy. At this point, they haven't seen anything like Notre Dame, but they don't stop scoring. They don't stop defending. So until then, we have Irish Illustrated Overtime. We have Tim Priester Snap Judgments. If you can follow us on our Facebook channel and Facebook feed and YouTube channel. For Tim Priester, I'm Tim O'Malley. The RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana, as always, is our sponsor. Thanks for watching Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis.